Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. Welcome to another day here on planet Earth. And I was sitting meditating this morning, and this idea of getting really clear, getting focused, finding your focus came to mind. So I thought I'd just jump on and do a live this morning and share with you the core aspects of finding your focus. And I think, I've been on this journey for many years, refining, getting clearer and clearer about my focus. And at the start of every year, I sort of define it even more and sort of dive into it at a deeper level. And I think, as you keep sort of looking into this or investigating or, feeling into it, you gain more and more sort of focus as the sort of journey unfolds. And I think, in finding your focus, I think one of the key aspects is to really get clarity. I think one of the issues that we sometimes face is lack of clarity. Getting really clear about sort of who we are and what we do and how it is out in the world, not just to try and attract clients or all of that stuff, but for our own well-being, for our own motivation, excitement, passion, and core focus driver to, get us doing the amazing work that we do, getting ourselves out into the world and sharing all of that beautiful magic you have to share. And I think 2026 is super important for this. Probably the start of every year is important, or every year is important, but probably right now couldn't be more important with all of the destabilization and disharmonic resonant frequencies that are playing out on the planet right now. We definitely need all of us to sort of step into this, and I think having more clarity is going to be really, really helpful. And primarily part of the clarity piece is to really sort of switch up from a modality or sort of methodology focus, although that's super important, obviously, into a deeper sort of meaning. And to, get to the sort of core of that meaning. And I'm a big fan, if you've watched any of my videos, a big fan of getting to the core of the issue. When I'm working with clients, it's about getting to the absolute core of the issue. What's the absolute minute, not minute, but, that absolute core. And, I do that in a number of different ways, but it's primarily it's moving past the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual into the dimensional aspects of what's truly going on for my client, and then being able to apply all the beautiful frequency, resonance, sort of energy tools and methods and all of those great things that I have, which we are all passionate about. But I think it's important to get passionate beyond just the methodology and the modality, although that's definitely passion worthy, that's for sure. I think the key is to ultimately come into the core, and I see there's three key things that we want to understand. The first one here is this core. What is the core focus that you have? What is the most, not the smallest, but the most important, the most sort of core aspect of that? If I was to think about my sort of core aspect of this, and what I've been passionate about researching and looking into and exploring and playing with, then it would have to be this idea of the quantum. Diving into the sort of multi-dimensional realms. Some of those realms that quantum physicists are desperately exploring, or astrophysicists, whatever you want to call it, but really diving into that absolute core aspect. Then it's about the second aspect, and I think this second aspect is all about what are the sort of satellites that fit around that. Satellites that fit around that. And I suppose for me, if I look at, what are those sort of satellites that fit around this, then I look at three components. I look at living in the quantum, Actually, let's do it this way. Not living. Oh, let's do this. First one is healing in the quantum. I'll just put it in the right order of focus. So healing in the quantum is a huge passion of mine, helping my clients to heal in the quantum, helping my practitioners be better healers in the quantum. And, my frequency crew and energy activator crew, helping them to be more effective at healing in the quantum. Not just healing in the physical, mental, emotional, sort of spiritual, but in that dimensional quantum aspect. The second satellite for me, the second satellite, so that's satellite number 1. Satellite number 2 is about living in the quantum. Right? Living in the quantum. And this also reflects on both my clients, my practitioners that I train, and also myself, which is about how do I live in the quantum? How do I follow the frequency and follow the energy and really live by that quantum aspect, and give focus to that before sort of the other things. And that, I think, leads to a greater level of thriving in a sort of living situation. It gives us a greater way of sort of, being. It gives us a beautiful sort of process to follow. And I think life becomes way richer because of that. And the third satellite I have is thriving. Thriving in the quantum. And this is where I focus on providing sort of this business idea for my students and sometimes my clients, but mainly sort of students and myself, of how do we build these beautiful, amazing, thriving businesses, but in the quantum space, in that more 5D space. Been doing a lot of work on, creating a new way of being that welcomes in, that embraces this concept of, fifth dimensional reality or 5D space, because I think, the planet is moving towards that. We are shifting dimensions right now, and that those shift is out of the 3D into the 5D. And I think when we apply these satellites, healing in the quantum, living in the quantum, thriving in the quantum, that's really what it's about, is shifting into that new way of being. And I think for too long we've waited for governments and people who do that stuff to make the shift for us, and maybe that is what's happening right now. But I think we can support that by focusing on these types of satellites, and that's what gets me really, really passionate, really, really passionate. So then the final sort of piece to this, which we'll call number 3, which is really the system. What is the system you're using to apply all of that? And so again, in my world, I use a couple of systems, and one in particular that I'm super passionate about. So one of the systems is energy, and following the energy. The other, which I'm super passionate about, is frequency and applying frequency. And utilizing resonant frequency states to increase the frequency, to assist with all of these things. So healing in the quantum, I utilize a system of frequency therapy and frequency application. Living in the quantum, I use frequencies every single day. Thriving in the quantum, I utilize frequencies for my business, for my wellness business, and my training that I do. So I think having a really solid system that reaches deeply into the most fundamental nature is a great opportunity to sort of attach it to what you're already doing. So the third part here may be that, let's draw properly. The third part here may be your modality that you already use. So, so I've focused on modality for a long time, and then I've applied things like frequency onto the modality and energy onto the modality. A lot of the modality I was using was energy-based, kinesiology, But applying frequency to that modality has really shifted. So over the last 10 years, I've been really focused on applying frequency. This beautiful tool you can just add to any modality methodology that you're using. And it just amplifies it, and it helps you to work in the quantum, heal in the quantum. And again, regardless of what methodology modality you use, whether it's hands-on type therapies, whether it's naturopathic or Reiki or any osteopathy or any of those, any modality, being able to apply that frequency has been a game changer for me, and I know for hundreds of other practitioners that we've taught and trained and shared this with. So, what are your three core, or what's your focus? What is the focus that you have? And I think when you come down to these three core things, it makes it really easy to share, to talk about it, to help your clients more effectively, to sort of get out in the world and maybe attract some more clients and live a more full, maybe even 5D sort of life. And I think that's super important because our work and our life and the healing we do and all of that sort of stuff is not in isolation. They all sort of work together. So when you can get your focus really pinpoint clear, and that focus can be distributed amongst all of the aspects of what you do in your life, then everything starts to change. All right, I hope that's helpful. Please let me know in the comments below. Love to know, what are your three things? What's your core focus? What are your satellites? And what's the system that you're utilizing to activate that core sort of focus you have? I'd love to know. Please type below and let me know what that is for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you really, really soon. All right, ciao.